hoping for more postseason magic. As we welcome you to Game 5 of the American League Division Series between the Houston Astros and the Kansas City Royals. And welcome inside the broadcast booth to the winner. The Toronto Blue Jays lay in wait. Tonight's elimination game comes with all the drama, all the twists and turns, befitting a high-stakes finale. The Houston Astros thought they had business finished, came 6 outs away from winning the whole series on Monday in the Space City. The Astros give way. Kansas City forces a Game 5 despite having the lead in all of 7 innings the entire series. I welcome in my broadcast partners, Hall of Famer John Smoltz, A.J. Pierzynski. Let's start by getting into the starting pitching matchup, John. Colin McHugh was really good in Game 1. He gets the ball today for Houston. And for the Royals, a guy who was brought in specifically for nights just like tonight.
Yeah, Johnny Cueto, you don't want this to be your last impression. They went and got him, and they were hoping that he was going to be dynamite. But the numbers show different. 4-7, high ERA. He has a chance to erase that in this one single game. For the Kansas City Royals and Johnny Cueto, they know if he can pitch with the lead and get it to the bullpen, it's pretty much over. Johnny Cueto has to be much better in the first inning. Look for his stuff to be electric tonight.
AJ, let's talk a little bit about the Houston lineup, a notorious feast-or-famine bunch. I think we'd all agree on this. The top of the order needs to get it done tonight.
Absolutely. The Royals got it going in Game 4 in the 8th inning. Their guys stepped up. Hosmer, Kane got big hits. Tonight, for me, HOU Altuve has to step up and figure out a way to get on base. He had a great Game 1 in which the Astros won behind Colin McHugh and HOU Altuve. But since then, he's 0 for his last 15. He's really struggling. He's swinging at the first pitch, popping up, hitting weak ground balls. This guy needs to get on base, figure out a way to cause some havoc to the Royals. If he does that, I look for the Astros to possibly put up a big number against Johnny Cueto, who's had trouble, especially in the postseason.
And elimination Game 5 on tap. To the winner, they move deeper into the fall. For the loser, winter starts tomorrow. Game 5 lineups in the opening pitch are next. Have gotten all they can handle from this year's American League Cinderella. To the winner tonight, a date in the American League Championship Series and an opportunity at the Fall Classic, while the loser has the long winter to think about the moments that led to that opportunity going away. Will the Cinderella Astros stay on the dance floor, or do the Royals force the clock to hit midnight? It's win or go home. Game 5 of the American League Division Series. Astros and Royals start right now. And back with Hall of Famer John Smoltz, A.J. Pierzynski, J.P. Morosi, Matt Vasgersian in Kansas City. All the set, all the drama, we are ready for baseball. A beautiful night for it here at Kauffman Stadium as Johnny Cueto finally emerges out of the home dugout. We lose a cameraman. I think Johnny tripped him on his way out. It's some start. Johnny Cueto ready for his second appearance in this series. Started game 2 here on Friday. Got off to a shaky start, but ended up with 6 innings of work, threw over 100 pitches, did get charged with 4 earned runs on 7 hits. Kept his team in it long enough for Kansas City to snatch one back and even up the series. Cueto himself not factoring in the decision. That was the only 1-run game played so far this postseason. And as you've watched on FS1 today, the Royals and Astros here tonight, guys, are going to have a tough act to follow, because that Rangers-Blue Jays finale was an awfully good one to watch.
Yeah, unbelievable. And for Johnny Cueto, I would think that I'm interested to see how he reacts in the first inning.
Let's take a look at A.J. Hinch's Astros lineup. One change today. In fact, it's been the only change in a starting lineup all series long, and that's the flip-flop of Carlos Gomez and Evan Gattis. Gomez batting 5th, Gattis 6th, as the Astros hope to protect their hottest hitter, Colby Rasmus, a little bit more today for Game 5. Well, the 29-year-old right-hander set to make what he hopes isn't his final start as a Kansas City Royals. John talked about his impending free agency. And Johnny is also looking for his first ever postseason win. As decorated as he is, as good as he's been throughout his near 10-year Major League career, Johnny Cueto is winless in 4 postseason starts.
That's why I think today and tonight is such an important start for Johnny Cueto. Coming into the end of the season, his velocity was down. He has a very loose personality. You're going to see a variety of motions. You're going to see Louis Tiant type turn your back. But he has got to get his fastball closer to where it was when he was with the Reds. He's got 5 different pitches, but look for this to be a 9th inning approach in his first inning against the Houston Astros.
John, I know this doesn't mean much to you pitchers, but he didn't throw a strike in warm-ups. He was bouncing them. He was throwing them all over the place. So I'll be interested to see how he does here against Altuve leading off the game.
Jose Altuve, George Springer, and Carlos Correa. And we are underway in Kansas City with strike 1. AJ, as you mentioned, Jose Altuve starts this Game 5 about as cold as he's ever been, 0 for his last 15, one of his longest career droughts, as he rocks that 0-1 pitch foul to fall behind 0-2.
Well, talking to A.J. Hinch today, he said he doesn't want Jose Altuve, as we just saw, pulling the ball foul almost behind him. His misses should be more down the line and more towards center field. That's a good Jose Altuve miss. When he misses behind him, that means he's out in front, he's trying too hard, and he's not exactly right in his swing.
And Altuve pops up on 0-2. Ben Zobrist got there in shallow right center for the first out of the night.
If you thought Houston was loud with the dome, this is one of the loudest outdoor stadiums, all dressed in blue. I would say 70% of the game it seems like they're standing, that seats aren't even an issue. And they understand what this team went through last year. They understand the importance of this game, and they would like to see much more baseball played this year.
One gone now for the right fielder, George Springer, hitless in Game 4 with 4 strikeouts. Springer 4 for 15 so far in 4 games in the series. Playing right field and batting in the 2-hole all set long, and takes a strike. 2 strike counts for Johnny Cueto in his game here on Friday. Did not go the way that 2 strike counts usually go for him. He induced only 3 misses on 19 2-strike swings. And again, the Astros got to him early for a few runs on Friday night. The 2-1 pitch misses outside, and it's 3 balls and a strike.
For Johnny Cueto, those are the kind of pitches that he needs. He works both sides of the corners. He's better down than he is up. And we're already seeing an early taste of where the corners are going to be as a pitcher.
Jerry Davis is the home plate umpire tonight, the crew chief working the plate in Game 5. And if you can believe it, Johnny Cueto's made about 230 Major League starts. He has never worked a game with Jerry Davis behind the plate.
I'll be interested to see how Jerry Davis does. He has a reputation. He's a really good umpire, but he's really tight on the corners.
And a called strike 3 taken by Springer.
Well, you can see this is an important inning. I mean, to state the obvious, Johnny Cueto wants to start better than 2 home games they had earlier in this series. A big 3-2 pitch. Crowd still hasn't sat down. Good start for Johnny Cueto.
I like his reaction too. Just turned his back, had a little swag to him when he turned around. That's what you want to see out of your ace pitcher.
Here's the rookie shortstop, Carlos Correa. Correa coming off a Game 4 that saw him go 4 for 4 and become the youngest player in postseason history to enjoy a multiple home run night. That's into right field for Alex Rios. It takes him back to the track and finishes off an all-business start to the night for Johnny Cueto. Astros go away in order in the first inning, and in the bottom of the first, no changes for Ned Yost's 1 through 9 all series long. Escobar, Zobrist, and Kane Hosmer, Morales, and Moustakas. A couple of home runs for Salvador Perez in the series. Alex Gordon and Alex Rios round things out against the 28-year-old right-hander who was so good Thursday in Game 1, Colin McHugh. Alcides Escobar greets him with a fly ball into shallow right, and there's one away for McHugh.
Great start there. One pitch, one out. Colin McHugh, he has a few hiccups in the first inning. If he has that one inning, it's usually the first. A quiet, under the radar 20-game winner now with the one win he won in Game 1. For the Royals, they're really good in the first inning. Second all in baseball in the first inning. So as a starting pitcher, when you come into a big game and you can get one pitch out, it's such a great feeling to start the game knowing that the first pitch gets you an out.
Here's the switch hitting two-time All-Star Ben Zobrist now. Zobrist 1 for 4 in Game 4 on Monday. Has enjoyed a 6 for 16 LDS so far. Had a base hit in Game 1 against Colin McHugh.
Colin McHugh's going to throw a lot of cutters, four-seam fastball, but a lot of cutters, and then, of course, much like the whole staff against the Royals, a lot of curveballs. That's how you attack the Royals, is with off-speed and curveballs.
And McHugh threw more breaking balls than any other pitcher in the game this year. 62% of his total arsenal was a variety, at least, of a breaking pitch. And he even ramped that up in Game 1 here. 92 pitches, 66 breaking balls against the Royals. Astros in that overloaded defensive shift as a breaking ball misses low, 2-2. So it begs the question, how does the Kansas City lineup react to that kind of arsenal? And you see some surprisingly low ranks from a pretty good offensive team. This has been the poison. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Ben Zobrist.
Not just from McHugh, but you saw McCullers do it. You saw Keuchel do it. That's the scouting report on the Kansas City Royals, is they're a dead red, good fastball hitting team. Hence the reason you see these many breaking balls. And the Houston Astros got Colin McHugh because of his spin rate on his breaking ball.
Here's the payoff home to Zobrist, and it's fouled away.
You saw right there a late swing. That's what happens with the shift. A late swing's an easy hit for a lot of guys because there's nobody over there.
But I see just Ben Zobrist in the back of his mind thinking, he's thrown so many breaking balls, I'm going to get one here at 3-2, and he was just late on the fastball right there.
We'll try it again with a full count pitch. And Zobrist takes ball 4. He has had a fantastic series.
Well, I can tell you there's great take right there in an aggressive game, in an aggressive count. Those are the kind of little things that help teams win. Typically, when the game means more and you know your playoff lives are at stake, the aggressive hitters get even more aggressive, and you can take advantage of it. Zobrist was not one of those guys, and you never know, because we talked about it in the playoffs. A walk is a rally. The crowd feels differently than they would in a regular season game.
Here is one of the more aggressive-minded Kansas City bats, the center fielder Lorenzo Cain. 1 for 5 with an RBI and 3 strikeouts on Monday in Game 4. On the ground to third, Valbuena to Altuve, and Houston gets them both. A double play ball puts a quick end to the bottom of the first. We are underway at Kauffman Stadium. No score. Sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. By Bank of America, who invites you to keep sharing your favorite baseball memories all postseason. And by T-Mobile. Switch to the Un-carrier today. Well, a couple of teams for whom this kind of deep run doesn't come along very often. For Kansas City, back-to-back LCS appearances since '84 and '85. That's what's at stake tonight. And for Houston, a chance to get back to an LCS for the first time in a decade. Colby Rasmus, the hottest Astros hitter, one of the hottest hitters this entire postseason, leads things off against Johnny Cueto and takes strike one. Rasmus, Gomez, and Gaddis in the Houston half of the second. Rasmus bunting to fall behind 0-2.
Interesting. John's been asking for people to do this to try to take advantage of the shift, but you're hitting .500 with 4 homers in the postseason, Colby Rasmus. I'm sure A.J. Hinch would much rather see you take this guy deep than try to bunt and get on base.
So Rasmus falls behind 0-2. Again, these were the counts, John, in Game 2 here Friday that Cueto seemed to be unable to finish.
Yeah, he didn't have his best secondary stuff, and that's one thing that he makes a living on, changing speeds.
2-2.
See the velocity much better, 94 miles an hour. He again has a variety of ways to get you out. He'll move it in and out, up and down. But to your point, the put-away pitch wasn't quite there in Game 1, and it led to a lot of pitches early.
There's the put-away pitch to Rasmus. Both strikeouts for Cueto, looking to start the night.
Let's see, one of the issues again with the target early on, you see how low that Perez is getting, and that's just visually pleasing to Cueto's eyes. He's a big catcher. We talked about the changes that he's made. And I think for Johnny Cueto, when you've been used to a certain style your whole career in the National League, a bevy of adjustments had to take place. And over the course of time, you saw his numbers weren't as good.
So one away to start the second, and that'll bring up Houston's lightning rod center fielder Carlos Gomez, who takes a strike. Gomez homered Monday in Houston as a part of that late rally that looked as though it was going to send the Astros to the LCS, and that one hits him. Or does it?
No, hit the bat.
Might have clipped his knob of his bat.
Tried to get out of the way and check his. See right there, just catches the bat.
Hit him right above the handle. A ball and 2 strikes.
Both the pitcher and the hitter have interesting ways of going about their business.
You talked about the excitable guys. Carlos Gomez is one of them. You see how aggressive he's been in this at bat.
A couple of real showmen here, squaring off with the bases empty and 1 gone.
You can see him dancing around after that take. You can see him almost swinging a ball that was going to hit him. Like John Smoltz said, this is the at bat when you see these guys that are excitable. Pressure situation, season line, they go even harder.
Well, you'd never know before the game by watching the Astros that they had let a 4-run lead get away and had been 6 outs away from going on in the postseason. This was a loose bunch today on the field before the game.
That's a pitching coach taking care of his pitcher. He had that gum on the back of his hat for quite some time.
And now it's a full count, 3-2.
Wow, wow, wow. That's the first one right there. I mean, that had been called a strike already. You just got to breathe as a pitcher because you've already in your mind, you know that's strike 3. Now you got to make another quality pitch with the full count.
And Gomez beating himself up. It's a guy who has not been 100% throughout the series.
So you look at this 2-2 decision pitch and where they set up. Well, got to give him credit. I followed the glove of Perez, and it looked a lot better. So
I think Cueto wanted it.
Yeah,
he definitely wanted it. You see the smile.
The next 3-2 pitch home is hit in the air out to the left. Here's the 4-time Gold Glover Alex Gordon. 5 up, 5 down for Johnny Cueto to start the night.
Sometimes I watch Gomez and I wonder if his spikes actually work. It looks like he could be on roller skates at time. He hit that ball and hustled, and on the way back said something to Cueto. You know, they've had some experience.
They have a history both being in the NL Central. Cueto with Cincinnati, Gomez with Milwaukee the last few years, and that's just friendly banter right there. Some people look at it and say, what are you doing talking to the other guy? This is the season on the line, be more serious. But that's the fun part right there of baseball.
Here's Evan Gattis now. The Astros home run and RBI leader during the regular season has been limited to 3 singles in 4 games here against Kansas City pitching. Hot shot up the line. Great pick by Moustakas. Throw brings Hosmer off the bag, and Gattis is safe at first.
It's a tough play for the third baseman. That ball is directly down the line. A long throw. Gattis doesn't look like he can run, but that big man can pick him up and put him down. Here you see the view right down the line. Moustakas into foul territory, sets his feet, makes a throw up the line. You see Hosmer jump across, try to get the tag on him. That is just a tough play for Moustakas all the way down the line, and it's a long throw.
And this ball just sails on him in towards the runner. And we've seen Hosmer catch the ball on the inside part of foul territory, especially when Altuve was running. Right over, sailed over his head for an out.
A little height difference between Evan Gattis and Altuve. He can't go over Gattis the way he could Altuve.
First Houston base runner of the night, Luis Valbuena jumps Johnny Cueto and makes it 2-0 Houston. He hit 25 of them during the regular season. Luis Valbuena had not enjoyed much success at the plate in this series to date. But a big 2-run blast here has started the scoring for the Astros.
Luis Valbuena jumping on the first pitch. Just a bad located fastball. Trying to go, looked like he's trying to go in and just didn't get it in there. Caught too much plate. That's a bad pitch to a lefty, down and in. That's their happy zone, and Valbuena deposited it.
So now Chris Carter, he is also homered in the series.
The Astros here have been able to take the crowd out temporarily in each of the first 3 games.
In fact, the visiting team has scored first in every game in the series as that foul pop is handled by Alex Rios. Not before the damage. It's been the long ball that's been the weapon of choice for Houston all series long. 2-0 Astros. of any kind, really not much of a deterrent to the Royals. They have led, as we mentioned, in a combined 7 innings through the first 4 games of this series. And they trail here 2-0 as they take their swings in the bottom of the second. Luis Valbuena's 2-run home run, the early difference. First pitch to Eric Hosmer is shot foul. Hosmer, Morales, and Moustakas, middle of the order here for Kansas City. Hosmer punches a pitch into left, and Rasmus sneaks up on it to record the out.
Well, there's 2 formulas for each team. It's a little more complicated for the Astros because their bullpen hasn't been exactly lights out. But if they can have the lead and McHugh can give them 5 innings, you bring in the presence of a Dallas Keuchel in a game like this because of his ability to pitch 2 innings and bridge the gap. So the Royals know what's looming. And at the same time, the Astros know that if they don't have the lead after the 6th, there's a good chance they don't win. So there's a pretty good strategy going on for both clubs. Right now, McHugh has been able to pitch with the lead and keep the lead in his 2 abbreviated games here in the postseason.
Scott Kazmir and Mike Fiers, couple of starters. Everybody's available in the Game 5 today. Kendrys Morales really did the only damage against Colin McHugh in Game 1. A couple of home runs against him. In fact, the only damage against McHugh in terms of the scoreboard was Morales, and the only hits he gave up were to left-handed batters. That's into the opposite field, chasing Rasmus and Gomez. Gomez really on the move, but it's Rasmus who's there to finish with the out.
Morales is the only guy that seemed to figure out McHugh. He's had good swings every at bat. Obviously, the 2 home runs in Game 1, but this is a really good swing right here to the opposite field. In Houston, that ball is maybe in the Crawford boxes in left field or off the wall, but not in Kauffman Stadium. This place, to hit the ball out to left center as a left-handed hitter, you got to really tag it.
So 2 out, bases empty now for the Royals All-Star third baseman Mike Moustakas. Just 2 for 14 so far in the series. Moustakas went hitless against McHugh in a couple of plate appearances in Game 1. You know, Johnny Cueto has the back of the baseball card. Dallas Keuchel had the huge season, the All-Star start, a likely Cy Young. There's a drive out to right that'll die for Springer. Point is, it's easy to snooze on a guy like Colin McHugh, who has very quietly been among the more effective starters this postseason. Jason Castro leads things off in the visitors' third. Castro, Altuve, and Springer against Johnny Cueto and a Royals team down 2-0 early. It was Luis Valbuena's 2-out 2-run home run in the second that started the scoring tonight. We've talked about how the Astros are a notably feast or famine style offense. A lot of strikeouts, a lot of home runs. They have not changed their stripes this fall. A couple of bounces for Zobrist and one away. In fact, only the Baltimore Orioles scored a higher percentage of their total runs via the long ball. Almost half of Houston's season end run total on that one swing of the bat.
Well, and they are a dangerous team to pitch against. I know that we've seen every team has flaws, and we've seen a couple of them already when games they had probably locked up. You know, one could argue they could have swept the Royals, but they're dangerous to pitch to offensively. And when you're making your pitches and you're doing what you have to, then they're not as dangerous. But when you make mistakes, you know, pretty much everybody can hit the long ball, and that's to your point, Matt, that's what they've done.
As a catcher, you go into these games saying, okay, if we make our pitches, we can dominate them. But if we miss by 6 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches on the wrong side of the plate, 1 through 9, these guys can do damage. They can hit home runs. They can hit extra base hits, and that's where their pressure on the pitcher comes from. Not necessarily from stealing bases and running, but it's from knowing in the back of your mind that, hey, if I make a mistake right here, this guy can put one out in the fountains.
Altuve swats a drive out to center. Can of corn style for Lorenzo Cain. And there are 2 gone with the bases empty now for George Springer.
I really, though, have to give them credit for a lot of their at-bats. You would think that this feast or famine offense would have a lot of strikeouts quickly, like in 3-pitch variety, but they made the pitchers work.
They have in this series.
Yes.
I'm sure over the course of the season they've had some games where they've gone 3 up, 3 down on 9 pitches, 10 pitches, and had quick ones. But this series they've definitely done a great job of working the count.
The 1-0 home to Springer, and it's 2 balls and no strikes now.
I mean, if you just blindfolded the results and you looked at the end results of 16 strikeouts, you wouldn't think that that team was capable of putting up 6 runs and being in a position to win a baseball game.
There is very little about this series statistically that makes a lot of sense. I mean, in that game 4, the 2 teams combined to strike out 28 times. That tied a record for the most combined strikeouts in a 9-inning playoff game. An all-time record, not just division era, not just wild card era.
You can make a case that both teams could have already won this series. You can make a case that both teams could have already lost this series. That's how crazy and just different because of the stats and the way you look at it this series has gone.
The 2-2, and Springer sticks around. George Springer went 0 for 4 in game 4, struck out 4 times, but as an example of what you guys just talked about, he's worked deep into counts. He's had 10 plate appearances of 5 pitches or more in this series. Working on a long one here. And another full count to him, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
It seems like every time Springer's up, it's a full count. He starts 0-2 or 1-2 and battles his way right into a full count to get to the pitch that either Cueto has to make a pitch or Springer can get a good pitch to swing at.
The payoff pitch. Got him swinging. A 1-2-3 third for Johnny Cueto. Still 2-0 Astros. This game 5 in Kansas City, bottom third of the order here against Colin McHugh. Salvador Perez will lead things off, the three-time All-Star, followed by Alex Gordon and Alex Rios. And Perez wastes no time with a base hit back up the middle. Well, that'll answer any questions as to how Salvador Perez felt after Game 4, because he had a rough Monday, AJ.
He did. You see the foul ball off his face, and you see the rib shot right here. That's a bad day for a catcher right there. Now you see him dancing. Doesn't look like John Smoltz out on the golf course after he makes a 50-foot birdie putt. You see him throwing his glove. You see him messing with Luke Hochevar right here. Big smile on his face. He passed concussion test. And if you have a career to look forward like he does, I'd be smiling too. I mean, that kid's got it all.
First Kansas City base hit of the ball game. Here's Alex Gordon now.
Well, the Royals have definitely collectively come out of the chute swinging. 6 of the 7 Royal hitters, 3 pitches or less. They have a game plan where they would like to get the fastball before that curveball starts coming. So see how Colin McHugh adjusts as the game goes on.
Breaking ball taken for a strike. It's 1-1.
I think you're right, John. I think they don't want to get to the curveball. So they see a first pitch, either fastball or even a cutter. They're being over aggressive because they don't want to have to face the curveball, a pitch that the whole Astros staff has had a lot of success with against these Royals.
One and two. Colin McHugh, an 18th round draft choice back in 2008 by the Mets, had a very inauspicious beginning to his major league career. 0-8 over 2 years as a Met and a Rocky. Has found a nice home in Houston last year, and this year a 19-game winner during the regular season. A 2-ball, 2-strike count now to Alex Gordon.
Well, recently the curveball's making a comeback. It used to be hard stuff, sliders and cutters, but now guys with the velocity up and the ability to spin the ball, you're seeing a variance for the hitter that gives them problems because they're hunting the fastball and the curveball starts at the same height and obviously drops.
As a hitter, you have no choice but to hunt the fastball. All these guys now come in throwing 95, 96, especially out of the bullpen. And even the starters, the velocity is up from where it used to be. It used to be 88, 89 sinker slider guys, but now it's all fastballs, hard fastballs.
Yeah, you can argue that he leads the league. I mean, a knuckleballer he's got a category all by himself.
Does that count?
Shouldn't.
Leadoff hitter aboard, 2 balls and 2 strikes, Alex Gordon. Breaking ball misses to fill it at 3-2.
Now, you know, if you could paint with your curveball, it'd be more tempting to go 3-2 here because otherwise you're pretty much locked in as a hitter. You think a fastball's coming here, I would assume.
I was thinking the same thing. He walks over, it's on a 3-2 curveball. He doesn't have the great feel right now, it looks like, for his curveball, so it's got to be, I'm thinking cutter right here, John.
The payoff pitch home to Gordon. On a hop. That's Valbuena in the shortstop spot, and it's the second double play of the game turned by the Astros.
Well, that's the rare 5-6-3 double play because of the shift. He jams him. You're right. He gets it in. Little one hopper.
It's a nice turn by the Astros right there with guys all out of position. Guys moved all over the diamond, but that was the cutter. You talked about it. You didn't think he had confidence in his curveball, but he went with his other secondary pitch, which is his cutter, and he got it in on the hands off Gordon, and he got the double play he was looking for.
So now Alex Rios, 2 for 11 so far in the series. 2 out, bases empty. He started with strike 1.
To me, I know we got classifications for all kinds of pitches, but to me a cutter is just another version of a fastball. So when you see that 33% fastballs thrown, I would argue he's throwing more than that because of the cutter.
Through McHugh, Correa gets to it. He's going to eat it, and Rios has an infield single. So a 2-out base runner aboard. Between innings, John Paul Morosi had a chance to chat with Astros manager A.J. Hinch.
A.J. Luis Valbuena, a little quiet to this point in the season, but obviously it's been great for you. Home runs all season long.
Yeah, no, he's provided a lot of power for us, and when he gets hot, he gets a good pitch to hit. The pull power is real. Big swing for us.
Colin McHugh, good start so far, but what can you maybe tell us about the possibility of Dallas Keuchel in this ballgame?
Well, I love the way that McHugh's gotten into the game. You know, he's using his 3 pitches already. They saw him a few days ago in game 1. Obviously, the biggest game of the year. It's an elimination game. If Keuchel's the best option for us at any point, then I'll consider it for sure.
Thanks, AJ.
All right, thanks.
Some possible drama late. There's been so much speculation over what kind of role that Dallas Keuchel may have today. It would be an appearance with 2 days of rest. Of course, the Astros aren't going to run him out there unless he's able to take the ball, and they have the right situation, as A.J. Hinch alluded to, and it remains to be seen if that moment will come tonight.
I'm not so sure the Royals want to see a lefty ace coming out of the bullpen in an elimination game that wears orange in his uniform. I think they had that feeling last year when Madison Bumgarner did it to him Game 7 of the World Series, a guy that they couldn't do anything against that entire series, including in his relief appearance in Game 7.
And the pitch to Alcides Escobar is in for a strike. Escobar flied to right on the first pitch he saw to start the bottom of the first. 5 for 19 in the series, and hitless so far in a couple of games against Colin McHugh. Oh, 2. Colin McHugh has turned a couple of double play balls tonight, and that's not exactly something that appears a lot in his playbook. In fact, he's got the 7th lowest ground ball double play percentage in the American League. The Astros turned only 12 behind him. A couple of well-timed ground balls induced here early in this one. And Escobar lifts a little pop into shallow center. Gomez coming on to strand a base runner in the 3rd. To the 4th, the Astros all-world rookie shortstop Carlos Correa leads it off with Houston on top 2-zip. Carlos Correa, Colby Rasmus, and Carlos Gomez here against Johnny Cueto with Houston on top early. 2-0 Astros. Back with Hall of Famer John Smoltz, A.J. Pierzynski, J.P. Morosi, Matt Vasgersian. Game 5 in Kansas City. And a strike to Correa. Carlos flied to right in his first at-bat tonight. And that ended a stretch of having reached base safely in 6 straight plate appearances. That tied for the longest such streak in franchise postseason history. You talk about going from the pinnacle to the pit in a heartbeat. I mean, Carlos Correa was riding high in game 4. 11 total bases, most ever for a rookie in a postseason game. And then the costly miscue is a part of the unraveling in the 8th. One away for Johnny Cueto. J.P. Morosi had a chance to visit with Cueto's manager between innings.
Well, Ned, you came back and won game 2. You came back and won game 4. How much confidence that still give you here in game 5?
A lot of game left, and Johnny's throwing the ball really, really well. The ball Valbuena hit was actually a pretty good pitch. He just kind of dropped the bat head down on a fastball. Good two-seamer down and in and hit it out of the park, but a lot of game left here.
I know, obviously, as you say, Johnny has been very good so far, but with your bullpen, how aggressive might you be there going to the pen in this ballgame?
Well, as long as Johnny's throwing like this, we're in pretty good shape. And, you know, if he can get us through the 6th, we'll be in great shape.
Thanks so much, Ned.
Thank you.
Well, Ned Yost certainly knew what it felt like last year to be on the brink of elimination. There's certainly no panic in his voice tonight with a lot of game left, as you mentioned. Even dating back to the pre-Ned Yost vintage Royals, they've won 9 of their last 10 when facing elimination. It was the Madison Bumgarner buzzsaw that was their undoing last year.
And unfortunately for Houston, they have not reaped that same success when facing elimination games. But statistically, the home teams in a best-of-5 series haven't fared as well as you would think. You would think that would be a little bit more to the advantage of the home team.
Yeah, the Astros number in that same regard is a mirror image of Kansas City's. Houston is 1-9 in postseason elimination games in its history. Off to a great start tonight. Here's the 1-2 to Rasmus, and it's 2-2 now.
I see Cueto attacking Rasmus different than he did in game 2 when Rasmus was all over everything he threw. He's changing his motion like he always does, but he's also throwing him a lot more breaking balls and a lot more changeups and off speed than he did the first time these two guys squared off.
Swing and a miss. 4 tonight for Johnny Cueto.
Well, that's the pitch right there that wasn't as good game 1 for him. It's a changeup that acts like a split, just drops out of the zone. His cutter's got a lot more bite. His fastball has a lot more miles per hour to it, with the exception of that one pitch. See Rasmus going out to get this fastball, and of course it's a changeup. Misses it by a good margin.
Here's Carlos Gomez now with 2 out and the base is empty. He takes a strike. And Gomez behind 0-2 with a Monica Seles grunt to punctuate that jam shot off a fist.
Another big swing by Gomez on a pitch running in it way off the plate inside that had a good chance of clipping him if he doesn't swing at it.
Just gets a piece to stay alive.
These are big swings here by Carlos Gomez. He wants to hit a ball to Manhattan, Kansas. The way he's swinging, you see him looking around after he foul tipped it to make sure Sal Perez didn't catch it, but he's taking gigantic swings off Johnny Cueto.
He struck him out. A 1-2-3-4 for Johnny Cueto. 5 strikeouts tonight for the Kansas City A's. Still 2-0 Houston. Or celebrate with your favorite team at the MLB.com shop. Two 0 Houston, last of the fourth. Ben Zobrist leads things off for the Royals. It'll be Zobrist, Kane, and Hosmer here against Colin McHugh.
McHugh's done a nice job on the road, an elimination game. Keep the crowd to a dull roar. You know they're going to get excited when runners get on. Two big double plays has kept his meter calm.
And speaking of elimination games, John, we want to make sure we get the right number out there, because I know of at least one fan in Humble, Texas, it's screaming at his television set tonight. The Astros are 2-8 all time in elimination games. They won the 04 NLCS Game 5, and then of course last Tuesday
Way to go,
the
Matty.
wild card game.
Way to go.
Got to get the right stuff out there, AJ. It's all about
Twitter will get you every time, Matty, when you make those mistakes.
factual accuracy. Right? Got it right for that man. Rocking the old school Astrodome shirt. Ball and 2 strikes. And 2-2 now to Ben Zobrist.
I'm familiar with that Game 5. I think they handled this pretty well. Lopsided score. The Astros beating us on the road, which is what they're trying to do again for the Kansas City Royals. Second time through the order, Colin McHugh's curveball gets better.
A swing and a miss by Ben Zobrist, something that had happened only once all series long. This swing and miss actually strikes him out here in the fourth.
That's that breaking ball type spin with it. 12-6 kind of action on the hands of the clock. You're seeing a hitter see the height of it, and then the tight spin goes down.
The height of the DirecTV blimp. Aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV, now part of the AT&T family. Here's Lorenzo Cain with one gone. I find that rather amazing that Ben Zobrist, at the start of this game, had taken 27 swings through 4 games and missed only once. As you can tell, he puts most of what he swings at in play.
He's had the best at bats, especially off McHugh, of all the Royals in both games. Game 1 and Game 5, the walk in the first inning on a 3-2 breaking ball in the dirt. McHugh just threw that one where he saw it good out of his hand and swung. That shows you how good McHugh's breaking ball is, how tight it is, and how much break it has on it.
2 balls and a strike to Lorenzo Cain. You know, the Royals don't want this conversation to start tonight, but there are a couple of notable Kansas City players like Johnny Cueto, like Ben Zobrist, and most poignantly like Alex Gordon, who may be playing in their final games as Royals tonight, should Kansas City not move on this postseason.
Alex Gordon, for me, should be a Royal for life. He came up a Royal. He was a first-round pick of the Kansas City Royals. He's from Nebraska, went to Nebraska, got sent down to learn how to play left field, came back up, became a Gold Glove left fielder, really figured out how to hit. He just seems like one of those guys that the Royals should have around. Be a Royal for life. Retire a Kansas City Royal.
Still 2-2 to Lorenzo Cain. Boy, Alex Gordon playing through a tough 2015. Like Ben Zobrist, injuries are part of their struggles this year. Groin injury for Alex cost him 2 months. Ben Zobrist had knee surgery. Full count now, 3-2.
You know, when you go over the lineup, and he's already pitched against them once, and you look at a scouting report, you know the leadoff hitter, early contact. You're going to get some quick outs if you make your pitches. Zobrist is going to work the count. Kane, you're going to throw a lot of curveballs to mess with his timing. Hosmer, cutters in. Morales, same thing. Each hitter provides something different for that pitcher to execute. That's what makes their lineup kind of stingy.
Still 3-2 to Lorenzo Cain.
Now, do you change your approach to these hitters, John? If you're facing them twice in a series, possibly 3 times as the series go to 7 games, but you you change your approach? Do you make the hitter adjust to you?
Make the hitter adjust. Unless you faced them so many times, you figure, okay, I can sneak this in here and really mess with their heads. But if you've had success, you wait for the hitter to change your game plan.
Little excuse me flare out into shallow right for a base hit. Well, Lorenzo's hit harder balls this series. That's one that drops in as a base hit here with one gone in the fourth.
If you want to know why pitchers always want to check when a hitter swings, because this is probably a check swing had he not made contact, that he would have gone right there. You see a lot of those where they don't even come that close, but that's the difference of just getting a little bit of some timely luck. But that's why when you're standing on the mound and you see a guy's even flinch, check. You always want any advantage you can get.
You pitchers are greedy.
Very.
You see Lorenzo Cain run into first, almost laughing, looking in the Royals dugout like, yeah, now we can get it going. This is the start. That's what they're thinking in the Royals dugout. That's the start we've been looking for.
Now Eric Hosmer, he lined to the opposite field in his first try tonight. McHugh starts him by crowding him and missing inside.
Well, that's the game plan. They're going to crowd him a lot, and Hosmer's got to pick out a mistake and get his hands extended because they want that cutter in there, and then once they've gone in there enough, then they have the freedom to bounce a curveball. There's one right there he could have had back if he would have liked. Cutter didn't turn the corner, kind of stayed right there over the middle of the plate.
McHugh breezed through the first 2 innings tonight. Had a double play ball help him out in the third. This has been his longest inning by pitches so far. And he misses on the corner rather to Hosmer. It's 2-1.
What's impressive about his combination, when you throw a cutter, typically you need a stiff wrist. You got to barely turn the ball off your fastball. You got to be on top of it, not on the side. And a curveball is the complete opposite. You've got to be loose with it. You've got to create spin. You're not worried about velocity. So it's a great built-in change of speeds. His ability to have those different quadrants in his arsenal is why he's giving the Royals temporary fits, not only this game, but the previous game.
Three balls and a strike to Eric Hosmer. And recall, the guy lurking on deck took McHugh deep twice in game 1.
Right here. McHugh's not just going to lay a four-seamer in there. I can't see him just laying a fastball into Hosmer. Hosmer can do damage, especially out on the plate. I look for him to cut it again in on his hands.
Full count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
See, probably ball 4, but it looks good to Hosmer. Obviously trying to drive the ball. Now you be a little bit more selective in your plate coverage. But the anxiousness of wanting things to happen, you see that ball's in off the plate, consistent with the way they're trying to attack him.
What do you think here? Another cutter or curveball?
I'd be tempted to throw a curveball after speeding him up. You got to feel he's going to be aggressive, so anything over the middle of the plate breaking, he would swing at.
There goes Cain, and Hosmer fouls it away.
I mean, it takes guts in these games to trust. I have a theory basically, and if I think a hitter is going to swing and expand the zone on a 3-2 pitch, throw the pitch that's going to get more of a swing and miss than contact.
And in big games, hitters, as we've talked about, are over aggressive. They want to be the guy. Eric Hosmer right now wants to be the hero to tie the game. So he's trying to look for a pitch he can drive. And like you said, a curveball starts in the strike zone and ends out of the strike zone. A lot of times will get you a swing and miss.
There goes Cain again, and Hosmer sends it back up the middle, a base hit. Cain to third easily. Gomez fell down, and Cain never stopped running.
I'm telling you, if this was a football game, you'd want to go in and the locker room and changed the spikes on Gomez. We already talked about his spikes. Are they deep enough? Does he got rollerblades under there? He comes in aggressive right here, and watch when he goes to field the ball. His feet give out, and at that point, great base running and tremendous speed by Kane.
The third base coach never even slowed down, waving him the whole way. Kane going on the pitch, being 3-2, sees it, picks up his third base coach, never breaks stride. Not the best turn in the world, but no play because Gomez slipped and fell.
Yeah, the reason it wasn't a great turn is there's no way you can anticipate that he was going to slip. He's got his back to him, but that kind of gear system that he has, once he knew it was a base hit, he covered a lot of ground quickly.
I just want to know what it's like. I want to know what it's like to run like that just one time in my life. To just know what a Lorenzo Cain, a Gore, a Dyson, these guys that can fly, what it's like just to run one time.
Good visit there by Strong because neither ball was hit firmly, right? You get the check swing base hit and then a jam shot base hit, and that's a good time to reset McHugh and say everything's fine, you're making your pitches.
First pitch to Morales, misses the corner 1-0.
How about that? You get a base hit with a runner on first and get an RBI. That's a nice RBI.
That's dinner.
That's a great RBI right there. Eric Hosmer's over there, first base, talking to Chris Carter, saying, "Ha, knocking an RBI on a routine single to center field."
Swing and a miss. It's 1-1.
Tell on that swing where Morales definitely likes the ball. He wants that ball about 3-4 inches closer to him. See him open up and just come off the pitch. Maybe even had visions of hitting that open spot over there as we see the shift again employed by the Astros.
2 balls and a strike.
Well, a different philosophy here from McHugh. The last couple of bats from Morales after the 2 home runs in game 1. He's pitching away. That's not really to his strength as a pitcher. His strength, as we've talked about, is cutters into lefties and curveballs. You see him here trying to throw the ball away to Morales to try to keep it away. And that's different than his normal pitching philosophy.
Well, 2 homers will make you adjust as a pitcher, that's for sure.
Let's take a look at Lorenzo Cain getting around the bases via StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services.
Right here's where he kicks it into gear. About right there is that 20.8 miles per hour, and then he just doesn't stop. Little hesitation.
Scored over 100 runs this year, one of the highest single season totals the last few seasons here in Kansas City. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Kendrys Morales, a run in with 1 away. Eric Hosmer at first. And McHugh trying to work out of the first real legitimate jam that he's found himself in tonight. High pop, headed for foul territory. Jose Altuve near the tarp for out number 2. But the last player to homer 3 times off a single pitcher in a postseason series was Chase Utley in the 2009 World Series when he got CC Sabathia 3 times. And Colin McHugh bound and determined not to become one of those casualties here tonight. So far so good against Morales. He's kept him in check. Not completely out of the woods, however. Here's Mike Moustakas. Oh, and 1.
I've been impressed by Colin McHugh and his demeanor. You never know what's underneath the hood and what your ticker's doing, your heartbeat's going, but his facial features and everything about him seems like nothing bothers him. Ho hum, I'm going to outthink you, I'm going to out execute you.
And he's got Moustakas in a quick 0-2 hole.
He looks like he's in total control, even though they had the run. A couple soft contact base hits, the check swing hit by Cain, the hit by Hosmer, which Cain scored on after the slip and fall by Gomez. He just looks like he's out there pitching on a backyard and some random day and just having fun and nothing at all. Like you said, John's getting to him.
McHugh struck out only one in his Game 1 win here Thursday night. Became just the second pitcher in over 100 years to win a postseason game when striking out only one batter and allowing at least 2 home runs. Those aren't usually the guys that win in the fall. Cue shot foul.
Tell you what, I know we get 2 strikes, and Hosmer probably not your prototypical speedster, but he's getting closer and closer to taking the timing of trying to steal a bag. It's a short lead for most of the time. With 2 strikes now, he's expanding his lead. Don't know if he'll take a chance in one of these next few pitches, but the lead has gotten bigger.
He will run. Eric Hosmer will run. He doesn't look like you think, oh, prototypical first baseman, big slow guy. Eric Hosmer is very athletic. You see him peeking in right there to see if he can steal something. But he's trying to time him up and walk out on him.
Stole 7 bases during the regular season. And with each of these foul balls off of Moustakas' bat, you know, they're in the overloaded right side shift for him. He has got all kinds of room to work with between Valbuena, the third baseman who's playing the shortstop spot, and that third base bag. It's got to be tantalizing for a hitter.
It is, but it's easier said than done when he's throwing cutters in on your knuckles to hit the ball to left field. You see Hosmer right here. That's called a walking lead. He's trying to walk in time. McHugh did a great job.
Moustakas hits it in the air out to left center. Gomez and Rasmus coming on, and Rasmus is there to make the catch, cutting off the rally at a single run. It is Eric Hosmer's RBI single, however, that gets Kansas City on the board at the end of 4, 2-1 Astros. DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. By Budweiser, make a plan to make it home. And by AT&T. DirecTV and AT&T are now one, bringing television and wireless together. Eric Hosmer's RBI single gets the Royals on the board in the 4th to the top of the 5th. Evan Gattis, Luis Valbuena, and Chris Carter against Johnny Cueto. So far, so good for both starters. Cueto answering some questions after the shaky start he had in Game 2. And for Colin McHugh, picking up right where he left off in Game 1 of this series. 1-1 to Evan Gattis.
Well, as we approach the 5th, it's pretty much a 2-inning game for these starters when you think about it. 2 innings is what each manager would love to get. I mean, get them to the 6th, through the 6th, and turn it over to the pen. That seems to be the formula.
And Gattis yanks that one near out of the building.
Well, we know Kansas City's plan. That's 7, 8, 9, Herrera, Davis, and Madsen. But if you're at Houston, it's a little more blurry as to Dallas Keuchel.
6 strikeouts tonight for Cueto. There have been swings and misses, and there has been one big swing for the Astros, and that was Luis Valbuena's 2-run shot in the 2nd. Little hitch in his step. He knew he had a chance at that one. First career postseason home run.
Well, between these two teams, there's been a lot of first pitch hits. We already noted how aggressive they are. So as a pitcher, you've got to know that, and that one pitch is the difference.
For the Astros, 6 of their home runs in the series have come on the first pitch. And that is one shy of a postseason record. Your 95 Braves, John, hit 7 first pitch home runs that fall. Two balls and no strikes to Valbuena. Popped him up, way up.
This is major league right here.
2 gone.
Well, for Cueto, he's been able to effectively pitch in the quadrants of the strike zone. In, out, down. He's been able to go up, but that changeup and slider and cutter, he's keeping the hitters more off balance than he did. There's the up factor, and there's another one up in the zone. So when you have a pitcher that can go to all 4 corners and a hitting like the Astros do that could be aggressive expanding the zone, you would think you're going to have pretty much a lot of success. And so far, so good for Johnny Cueto.
2 out, bases empty now for Chris Carter.
I can't help but think, Matty, that one of these two cities' football team's going to benefit from the team's success. In other words, neither team's having a good year, and their baseball team playing on will help take the pressure off their football team, especially here in Kansas City.
It would be a welcome diversion in either city at this point in the season. You know, back to the strikeouts, and Johnny Cueto was 6 today. The Astros have struck out 55 times in this series. The record in an LDS is 57. And we hate to keep harping on that point, but that's a huge number for a team that's in Game 5 tied 2-2. If you were to tell me that a team would have struck out 55 times in an LDS, you'd say there's a pretty good chance they're not playing it anymore.
I have a funny feeling that record's going to be shattered in this game. And the Astros are proud to shatter that record if they keep hitting home runs.
It's who they are. Retired by Johnny Cueto on his 7th strikeout of the night. Middle of the night. Still 2-1 Astros. Continues tomorrow, the NLDS Game 5 between the Mets and Dodgers on TBS. Then Friday, it's on to Game 1 of the 2015 ALCS as the Blue Jays take on the winner of our game tonight at 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox. Salvador Perez leads things off in the home fifth. Bottom third of the order, Perez, Gordon, and Rios against Colin McHugh, who allowed his first run of the game in the fourth, but wiggled out of any further trouble by retiring Morales and Moustakas. And it's a ball and a strike to Salvador Perez. John, you spoke of this earlier. As a starting pitcher, consecutive starts against the same team, as is the case for McHugh tonight. From the Royals' standpoint, when facing a pitcher for the second consecutive start, they've had a lot of success. The second time they see that guy, they're 5-1, and they hit .329 as a team. All the numbers go up for them. 2-2 to Perez.
Tell you, when I see a hitter on that bad of a pitch attempt to swing, he's got one thing in his mind, and that's all attacking anything that's straight. Fastballs.
Full count now to Salvador Perez.
The difference there, unfortunately for McHugh, though, you rarely see a guy go after a high pitch and then a ball in the dirt. It's got to be closer to that appearance has got to be closer. That higher curveball would have worked better against Perez.
Perez has one of the 4 hits against Colin McHugh tonight. Here's the payoff pitch home to him, and it hits him. Second time in the series he's been hit by a pitch. That was a breaking ball that just got away from Colin, and Perez takes his base.
Tell you, on this one, trying to throw this one closer for a strike, the ball just slips out of his hand and backs up. At that point, it's going to be ball 4. So
people ask all the time, he got hit by a curveball, it doesn't hurt. It still hurts. It still digs in there. The ball has so much spin on it, it still digs in there. You never ever want to get hit by any pitch, but even a curveball hurts.
Mike fires up in the Houston bullpen. You saw that note, his Astros debut came in relief, but a guy who has pitched most of his career as a starter. First offering to Alex Gordon's in for a strike. Gordon bounced into one of the 2 double plays turned by the Astros tonight. Wrapped to first and just foul.
Pitch Gordon. McHugh has, I don't know if he's thrown 2 consecutive the same pitches in the same area. Really throwing the term kitchen sink at him. First pitch cutter, second pitch curveball that he pulled foul. You see the break. The last time he faced him, he had a long pitch at bat that ended up the first game, first at bat, grounding out to second base.
Alex Rios waiting on deck. Here's the 0-2 home, and it's a ball and 2 strikes to Gordon now. Astros again in the shift. We take a look at it courtesy of Amazon Web Services. StatCast showing us Luis Valbuena in that shortstop spot and Carlos Correa on the other side, the first base side of the bag at second.
Here's the danger in throwing him a curveball right here. That's an easier pitch, just to slap down the left field line with a shift.
Started 0-2, and Gordon's worked it even now. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
But if he executes a good curveball and you can get him to roll over, that's where you're looking for that double play ball.
Full count.
I sense a little bit of tension right now on the Astros side. Looking down in their dugout, there's guys moving around a little bit more. Hinch and Brent Strom, their pitching coach. You got Mike Fiers up. You feel it like they've gone as far as they can right now with Colin McHugh. Can they get 3 more outs out of him, get through the 5th, or at what point are you like, okay, that's enough, Colin, you did your job, let's get someone else in there?
Each of the last 7 Royals batters have seen 5 or more pitches. And Gordon with a shot out to right. Springer was shallow, and it's over his head. That one bounds up and over the wall. A ground rule double for Alex Gordon. Houston catches a break for the moment.
Outside cutter that he ends up pulling, and I'm with you, Matty. I can't believe how shallow he was playing in right field. We've seen this for right-handed hitters, but for Gordon, when he first hit this, I thought Springer was going to get it, but then the ball bounces, top spins over. And the Royals have action.
Here comes A.J. Hinch now with Alex Rios scheduled. And Mike Fiers hot in the Houston bullpen. First visit to the mound here tonight.
Well, when he spiked his 2-2 curveball, what I was going to say is going to take a lot of mental toughness to be able to throw a 3-2 curveball after spiking it so short. So he went with the outside cutter, and of course Gordon covers all areas of the plate pretty well, and he was able to make good contact.
That hit goes back to his first at bat, though, on a 3-2 pitch. He threw him a cutter in and got a ground ball for double play. Gordon, in Gordon's mind, knows that, and he's looking for that pitch.
Wow, that's going to be it for Colin McHugh. Mike Fiers will be summoned to make just his 2nd relief appearance of the season. Next. Fox Networks, highlighted by West Virginia trying to contain the high-octane offense of number 2 Baylor on Fox. It's all Saturday on Fox, FS1, the Big Ten Network, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Aerial coverage tonight brought to you by DirecTV, now part of the AT&T family.
Fiers, as you mentioned, Matty, normally used to coming and starting a game, and it's going to be interesting. He sets up hitters with the high fastball, curveball, changeup combination. I would think in this situation he'd be a little more amped up with his fastball. Let's see how it plays out. Second and third, you got to limit the damage. In a super perfect world, if you could just limit one run in this situation, that would be ideal.
Mike Fiers came to the Astros with Carlos Gomez in that deadline deal from Milwaukee. 9 appearances as a starter, made his Astros debut in relief, threw a no-hitter against the Dodgers in August, and here he is under the brightest of lights in October. First offering to Alex Rios stays high. And there's that big fastball you talk about missing upstairs.
Yeah, he has a unique release point, straight over the top as you see where the runners are, and he lives up in the zone by setting up the hitters to think up. He throws enough strikes down so it doesn't just always live up, and then that curveball combination off the fastball.
It's been a couple of weeks since Mike Fiers was out there in a game. His last appearance was a start back on September 29th against the Mariners. A ball and a strike.
To your point, John, this guy lives off deception. His stuff, his fastball is not above average. His curveball is good, but you see his glove, the way he hides the ball with his glove.
Rios wraps that one inside the line and down into the left field corner. Perez scores. Here's Gordon right behind him, and Kansas City has taken their first lead of the night.
Curveball that doesn't get down. You see it go right down the line right here. Toughest call for an umpire. Oh, right over the bag. Fair, foul. Angel Hernandez, fair. Alex Rios excited, obviously, with the huge hit here in Game 5. Just a curveball that didn't get down in the zone and couldn't do much with it.
I think this situation here, rare bunt opportunity. Escobar is one of the few guys in the lineup for the Royals that you would utilize him to bunt and get the runner over to third.
Alcides Escobar 0 for 2 tonight. He is bunting, and he gets it down perfectly. The sac bunt moves Rios to third with one away.
And the reason you do that is because you have one of your best contact hitters coming up at Zobrist. You put a lot of pressure, and you probably have to bring the infield in. The Astros are now playing a very short game. They know what's in store for them. That's why it's so important to keep it right here, because of the Kansas City bullpen. They play a much more condensed game.
The Houston infield comes in as pitching coach Brent Strom surfaces. This has been a problem for Houston. We talked about the bullpen implosion in Game 4. It's been well documented. But in terms of the whole series, Houston has allowed 8 of the 16 inherited runners around to score.
Yeah, in this case, Mike Fiers put in a really tough situation. Second and third, nobody out. A ball that just barely sneaks inside the foul line. Tough way to make your first entry here in the postseason.
Well, this is all hands on deck, as you talked about earlier, John. Tony Sips up in the bullpen behind Fiers. They'll have him hot for Hosmer. But now it's Fiers worrying about Ben Zobrist.
I'd have a hard time throwing a first pitch fastball right here with the infield in, especially a high fastball. You can get a sac fly out of it.
Infield in here for the Astros. As a hitter, you're looking for a pitch up. You just want to get the barrel on the ball and get the ball to the outfield somehow. There's so many holes and so many gaps in the infield. If you can just put the barrel on it, there's a really good chance you can find a way to get it through those guys.
To 2-0.
The Royals haven't hit the ball that hard in this inning. The Gordon double obviously was hit hard, but the inning before, the Kane check swing hit got him going. The rolled over ground ball down the third base line by Rios. It's not like they've crushed McHugh or crushed Fires. They're just having good placement, finding the right places to hit balls, take away the Alex Gordon double.
Two balls and no strikes to Zobrist. Boy, it's just been a completely different story in this series when Kansas City's been able to get into Houston's pen.
That's pretty remarkable in today's game, because usually the bullpens now are the strengths, especially of playoff teams.
Zobrist with a drive out to right center. Springer's there. That's more than enough to tag and score Rios. And it's 4-2 Royals.
It's a lonely feeling for the starting pitcher over there, watching the bullpen guy come in and just flame his runs into the game. It's a tough situation for Mike Fiers, but if you're calling McHugh, you're sitting over there. Man, I wish I would have been given the opportunity to try and get out of my own mess.
Yeah, especially in the fifth. But given the circumstances of this tight game with the short leash, we talked about it before. You almost have to be perfect to keep pitching in these kind of games.
Lorenzo Cain with a ground ball sharply hit for Altuve at second to retire the side. Not before three can score for Kansas City. Alex Rios delivered the lead. And the Royals have a 4-2 advantage headed to the sixth. active player in baseball, had played in more regular season games without appearing in the postseason than Alex Rios. It has been a long journey to get here, and he has really cashed in tonight with a couple of hits, including one that changed the score. So Johnny Cueto, working with the lead for the first time tonight, will face Jason Castro, Jose Altuve, and George Springer. Little pop-up behind shortstop. Escobar retreating out there to make the catch. There's something that we wondered about before the game tonight, guys. Would Dallas Keuchel pitch tonight? We don't have an answer to that yet, but he did go to the bullpen between innings.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, man, why couldn't you have him ready for the 5th inning? You don't really want to pitch him if you don't have to, but I thought the scenario was going to be a lead in the 6th. That was the dangerous inning for the Houston Astros in bridging the gap to the 8th inning. That was the key, 6th through the 8th. You knew McHugh wasn't going to go 8, or the chances were he wasn't going to go 8. And that's really the difference right now in the game, was that one key inning. We talked about 2 innings that these starters were going to have a chance to pitch, and it looks like Johnny Cueto will have a chance to finish the 6th, and I don't anticipate him going much more than that.
That would have been much more dramatic if they had a lead.
Jose Altuve sends a fly ball to left. Gordon and Escobar out there. Hey, Alex Gordon made that look easy. I guess it is easy when you got 4 Gold Gloves at home.
Nice play here by Alex Gordon. Ran a long way. See him playing fairly deep left field, all the way in. Nice sliding catch, snow cone, great play.
Figure he had to say something right there to stop Escobar. Escobar in the last 2 plays had to travel a few distance as well. So
you see guys nowadays make that play blowing bubbles.
Well, you talk about a quick inning. Johnny Cueto says, give me the lead. I'm going to hang on to it. A 1-2-3-6 that's still 4-2 Royals. it's become a very familiar fall feeling around these parts. A loud Kauffman Stadium in October. A 4-2 lead for Kansas City. Alex Rios, a big part of that 3-run lead, changing fifth. Eric Hosmer will lead things off in the home half of inning number 6. Hosmer, Morales, and Moustakas, and Houston back into the bullpen for the left-hander Tony Sipp, who's now appeared in all 6 of the Astros postseason games this year.
He's not afraid to attack the hitters with his fastball. Good changeup, acts like a split, and a slider works away from those left-handers.
Eric Hosmer has an RBI single to his credit tonight. That got Kansas City on the board in the 5th. Ned Yost told us before the game that he doesn't have Hosmer right at the plate right now. And as true as that may be, because Eric is only 4 for 19 in the series, all 4 of his hits have driven in runs.
It's not the quantity, Matt. It's the quality sometimes, and he'll take those RBIs, especially on the 2 he's got in Kauffman Stadium. The 2 hits he got here, the one tonight, a broken bat single up the middle that drove in Kane from first, and off Oliver Perez in game 2, where he just kind of stuck his bat out and threw the ball over the shortstop's head for a huge RBI.
You face the Royals long enough, and Eric Hosmer is going to get his. Career high 18 home runs, 93 driven in, also a career high during the regular season. On the ground for Carter, who backhands and gets it to Sipp, covering for out number 1. A reminder, a great day of postseason action continues tomorrow. The NLDS Game 5 between the Mets and Dodgers on TBS. Then on Friday, it's Game 1 of the 2015 ALCS. The Blue Jays waiting for a winner from this series. And Game 1 will be Friday at 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox.
Well, the Blue Jays down 0-2. Found a way to scratch and crawl and win 3 straight games. Not a feat that happens a lot.
There was no drama, controversy in that game today either. I mean, you had all kinds of things going on.
This is a garden variety baseball game, yeah. Here's Kendrys Morales now.
Protests, fights, guys flipping bats. I mean, that was an incredible game to sit here and watch, just watch both teams go from such high to such lows, and then back high, low. It was fun.
Toronto not quite sure where they're going. I mean, they know they're playing in the ALCS. But if the Astros win tonight, Game 1's in Toronto. If Kansas City wins, Game 1 is right here, and the Blue Jays will hit the road.
And you know what's interesting that may or may not, we'll see what happens with this game, but if Kansas City were to win, their sweep in the last weekend of the season would have allowed them to get that home field advantage.
That's a good point. They took care of the Twins. And Toronto had that hiccup down in Tampa St. Pete as Morales takes a strike.
And Toronto rested some guys in that series too, which I found interesting, because most teams want home field, especially with the crowd they have going in Toronto. They kind of said, well, we think we can win home or road, and Kansas City went the other way and said, hey, we're gonna try and get the home field.
On the ground to the left side. And 2 away in the Kansas City 6th. Earlier tonight, in the wake of the tragic events on Monday and the loss of 2 Kansas City firefighters' lives, the Royals honored their memory in a special pregame tribute. Select players and Ned Yost will wear official KCFD caps and shirts to honor the fallen firefighters. And if you want to support the families of those who lost loved ones, you can contact the IAFF Local 42 Community Assistance Program. And our best to the families who were touched by that tragedy. 2 gone now for Mike Moustakas. A fly ball into the right field corner. Springer is under it, and it's a 1-2-3 6th by Tony Sipp. So the back third tonight, 4-2 Royals. Johnny Cueto making his 5th career postseason start tonight, and it has been without question his best. No problems with this elimination pressure here at home. Carlos Correa leads things off in the 7th.
For Ned Yost, he's just stealing outs right now for Johnny Cueto. Such a quick inning, last inning, that he's going to try to get as many outs without runners getting on base and then look for the bullpen to take over.
1-1.
As soon as somebody gets on, if somebody can get on, you'll see Ned Yost with a quick hook. Though he doesn't want to go too far with Johnny Cueto, even though he is pitching tremendous.
Broken bat flare. Zobrist is there to snatch it out of midair. Well, there is nothing that Ben Zobrist doesn't do well.
Taller second baseman, another bat that's broken. Timed it perfectly.
Nice play.
I look for Rasmus, despite the score 4-2, won't change his approach. If he sees the pitch he likes right away, he'll be swinging.
Kobe Rasmus has struck out twice tonight. 2 of the 7 hung by Cueto.
Hit a changeup. There you go. He went through all the signs. He was looking for that changeup, anticipating Kobe Rasmus attacking the fastball.
Johnny Cueto has retired the leadoff hitter in all 7 innings that he's opened tonight, and now he wants to think about things.
Gone through everything now. Got to reset.
This is officially the longest start by a Royal this postseason. Oh, and 1 to Rasmus.
5, John.
Breaking ball, curveball.
5 for curveball.
He's got 5 of them, 5 different pitches.
The break Cueto took before the first pitch to Rasmus, you could see him confused Rasmus. Rasmus thought he had an idea, and you could see the way he took. He had no intention of swinging at that ball. He was taking there like he was, no way I'm swinging.
Even though the average velocity for Cueto is the same as it was in Game 2, I feel like he came out, established himself with higher velocity earlier. Later in the game, in Game 2, he established that velocity.
8 strikeouts for Johnny Cueto tonight.
His body language is just better. The way he's carrying himself, the way he's walking around the mound, everything about Johnny Cueto is different than it was in Game 2.
Oh yeah, this Johnny's in command tonight.
He's feeling it.
2 away for Carlos Gomez. Got a little extra giddy up on the fastball at 94 miles an hour. A guy that usually lives at around 92, or at least has as a Royal.
But that velocity his last start, although be it I take it he was cruising, was well below that, 89, 90, and he had some dips along the way as he made the adjustment to the American League. Timing is everything. Last impression, what he's doing right now.
This is what the potential free agent suitors are going to remember.
Yes, he's got a chance, if they continue in this fashion, to win the game, to pitch a few more games for the Royals.
He's done this all night to Carlos Gomez. High fastballs up and in, and Carlos just keeps swinging at him.
And let's face it, there were some nervous moments during Johnny Cueto's 13-week tenure as a Royal. There was a 5-start stretch where he amassed an ERA of 9.5, and it had a lot of people wondering if he was physically okay.
I was telling you, it's a good step behind the mound. He emptied the tank right there, trying to paint a fastball away and send this crowd into a frenzy.
Missing in at 94 again. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Now, is he going to rear back and challenge Gomez here? Change up.
That's what I would throw. Just feed off the aggressiveness of that guy wanting to hit the ball as far as possible.
Working quickly.
Good call, John. Change up.
Unless you think you can make a better one, you go back to a heater and change up away.
The next 3-2. On the ground to third. Moustakas gloves and gets his man. 16 in a row retired by Johnny Cueto. Bottom of the 7th inning, the Geico in-game box score for Kansas City. RBIs for Eric Hosmer and Ben Zobrist. A pair of RBIs for Alex Rios in their 4-2 lead. Salvador Perez, Alex Gordon, and Rios here in the 7th as Tony Sipp will be asked to continue here. Sipp retired all 3 that he faced in the 6th inning. Perez is singled, been hit by a pitch and scored tonight. Big fastball challenged and a swing and a miss. Houston had a 2-0 lead after an inning and a half. The Luis Valbuena home run, one of only 2 hits for the Astros all night. Johnny Cueto has been the big story. He's retired 21 of the 23 batters he's faced tonight.
Well, I think he's officially checked in as a Royal, and that was the one thing that they were hoping to see, this kind of performance, because you need your starters to give you some length. I mean, moving forward, whatever team moves forward, They have to get more innings out of their starters. You can't expect the bullpen to pick up that many innings on a continual basis.
Popped him up. Castro and Carter. It's Chris Carter that makes the catch for out number 1. Reminder, aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV, now part of the AT&T family.
All right, I've always wanted to ask you this.
Okay.
Why on a pop-up do most catchers carry their mask all the way to right before? I've never understood that. Is it because they don't want to trip on it by dropping it?
No. Well, I can only speak for myself and other few catchers that I've talked to over my career. You don't want to catch the ball as a catcher. You're begging for first baseman Carter, third baseman.
I get that part.
To get you out of there. You carry your mask as long as you can until you're under it because you don't want to hit anybody with it, and you also, like you said, don't want to trip on it. But I'm just begging for anyone else to call me off. As soon as I hear noise, I'm out of there.
Here's Alex Gordon now. He has doubled and grounded into a double play.
Here was a really high pop-up hit earlier against the Royals. You see Salvador Perez acting like, oh, yeah, I got it. He almost hits Cueto with the mask right there. And you see Hosmer calls him off, and there's a huge sigh of relief from Perez right there thinking there was no way I was catching that. I acted like I did, but I was nowhere close to it.
Well, it's interesting. In talking to Ned Yost, he said he's the best, meaning Perez, he has ever seen in catching pop-ups because it is so difficult to do.
Not on that one. He wasn't catching that one.
He may not have caught that one, but anyone he gets to, he says he catches.
Can you imagine if he would have clipped Cueto in the knee with his mask and bruised him up and Cueto's limping around? I mean, can we get the pitchers out of the way, please?
Well, they're just being traffic cops. They're trying to help out who should catch it.
0-2 the count to Alex Gordon.
And just for the record, the pitchers want to catch it more than anybody else.
You guys want the out.
You had to get that. You had to get that out, didn't you? You represent the fraternity. A ball and 2 strikes to Alex Gordon on a night where the Royals' bottom of the order has been very productive. Gordon with a big double and a run scored. Alex Rios on deck, 2 hits, including the 2-run double that gave Kansas City their first lead, the lead they currently hang on to. And a swing and a miss. 2 gone in the 7th. JP, we talked about how particularly sweet a night like this would be for somebody like Alex Rios, given all of his regular season games.
Yes, Matt, he of course had played the most games of any active player without appearing in the postseason. He was a free agent last winter time, received a 2-year offer from the Mariners, but said the Royals were his first choice, even on a 1-year deal, because of how good this team is right now.
Chance to play even deeper into the fall. Can the Royals hang on tonight? A pitching change for Houston. This was the big hit that delivered the lead. We'll be right back. seventh inning stretch. Post your photos and videos with hashtag the Big Seventh and hashtag contest for a chance to win tickets to Game 4 of the World Series. Making his second appearance of this division series is the veteran right-hander Pat Neshek. His first offering to Alex Rios is in for a strike.
Well, Neshek's run into a little bit of a struggle because he hasn't been able to get the breaking ball to turn, meaning turn the corner, get away, sweep it away from the right-handers, and his sinker has been a little flat.
Rios yanks that foul, and he's behind 0-2.
So a good spot here for him to face one hitter and see what happens. If the Astros were to come back in the 8th and possibly tie the game, you might see that man in a tie game, or if they take the lead.
Houston will have their 6, 7, 8 part of the order when they go to the 8th inning.
Problem is for Houston, Davis is warming up in the bullpen.
That's a whole nother kettle of fish over there. It's actually Ryan Madsen who's up in the Kansas City
Davis,
bullpen now.
Davis looming.
Yep. He's lurking
Davis
down there.
He's breathing down there.
Pat Neshek, a few years ago when he was with Oakland, almost exclusively threw sliders to right-handed hitters. Now, last year with his success with St. Louis, he actually threw more fastballs, which is what led to him having the year he had, made the All-Star team, was one of the best setup guys in all the game. And then this year, as John talked about, he's kind of lost the feel for his slider. But this guy is as funky as it gets, as weird of a motion as you'll ever see, and one of the biggest autograph hounds you'll ever meet in your entire life.
Well, we knew that was true when he asked you to sign a rookie A.J. Pierzynski card in the Houston clubhouse a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah. I played with him last year in St. Louis, and he's the same. He's a really, really nice guy, and he loves autograph anything. Anything. I'm surprised he didn't ask Smoltz to sign.
It was a little awkward when I went to go actually sign the card, but then it was yours.
And a swing and a miss by Alex Rios to retire the side. Houston running out of chances. 4-2 Kansas City. is sponsored by the Quesarito and Volcano Quesarito Big Boxes. Grab them at Taco Bell. By Cricket Wireless, something to smile about. And by Esurance, the official sponsor of Major League Baseball. Your Budweiser game summary as we head to the 8th. It's all about Johnny Cueto. He's faced 23 batters tonight. Has retired 21 of them. The only trouble in the second, a single and a home run. Most recently, he has retired each of the last 16 he's faced and is in the midst of his best ever postseason assignment. More is asked from him as Evan Gattis leads things off in the 8th. Gattis, Valbuena, and Carter.
Well, I talked about each starting pitcher having to pitch perfect, right, to keep their manager from making the change. He's pretty much done that to this point. So you got to think Ned's just stealing outs based on the amount of hitters he's gotten in a row.
Gattis pops it up. And the Royals are 5 outs away from a date with the Blue Jays. Here's the one guy that's been able to get to Johnny Cueto, and we take another look at Luis Valbuena's home run, courtesy of StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services.
100 miles an hour usually has a good result attached to it.
It does, especially if you get the launch angle correct, right?
Yep.
Right, Matty, sabermetric master you.
Oh, yeah, that's me. All my protractors and compasses are right here on the desk. First offering to Valbuena misses high.
Cueto's hitter to hitter. If you're Ned Yost, if anyone gets on base, Cueto's going to be yanked out of this game right away. You'll see Ned Yost sprint out there.
On the ground is Zobrist. 2 away. Paulo Orlando in right field. The only change tonight. Boy, Ned Yost is really, he has not needed to do much in terms of late changes. There have been a couple of pinch running opportunities for him in the series. He's not changed his lineup for 5 straight games, and now he's 4 outs away from getting back to the ALCS.
From getting that monster in the game. Oh, man.
Here's Chris Carter with 2 out and the base is empty. Johnny Cueto came to play tonight. This evening we ask, which team has won the most division series game 5s in Major League history? Well, Johnny Cueto, yeoman's duty tonight. 8 fantastic innings. And ends his night quite possibly, because we're all guessing it's going to be Wade Davis in the 9th, by retiring 19 in a row.
The way his teammates are reacting right there, it sure looks like he's done. Unless they go out and score a boatload of runs off Keuchel, I don't see him going back out there.
It is Dallas Keuchel working on 2 days rest and making his first relief appearance in over 2 years. A.J. Hinch saying, I'm not going down tonight without giving myself a chance to at least keep it close for the 9th and use my best. Alcides Escobar punches a ball into the right field corner. Springer up and throwing into second. Too late. A leadoff double in the Kansas City 8th.
Well, this is just swinging a little late and hitting another one over the bag. The Royals have picked perfect opportunities to place their hits. The Astros prefer to place theirs over the wall. The Royals don't care how they get their hits.
This is what this to me is the interesting part of the Keuchel move. If he comes in and gives up runs right here, you have to question why a Harris or a Gregerson or someone else wasn't in the game. Especially with Houston down in this game. I can understand if they're winning 4-2 to bring him in, but for me, this is the interesting part. I guess A.J. Hinch was saying, I got him up, I got to bring him in. There's no other reason for this when you have a bunch of guys down there that can get guys out.
Well, I mean, this sounds like I'm restating the obvious, but A.J. Hinch has to feel like Keuchel gives him the best chance to keep it at a 2-run deficit. You're not worried about any hurt feelings. You're not worried about somebody not being fresh or somebody being more available than the next guy. I do hear what you're saying, that if Keuchel gives up runs here, the whole thing backfires. Line to second. Altuve gobbles it up, and there's one away. Quick reminder, official caps, hoodies, jackets, and more. Celebrate with your favorite team at the MLB.com shop. And you can follow every pitch of this postseason with the MLB.com At-Bat app, the #1 app for live baseball. Download the At-Bat app today.
I think this is just a conversation where they would like to go after Hosmer with Kane up, a lefty on deck, bring in the double play. It's the only reason for the meeting right now with a runner on second.
I also think A.J. Hinch was talking to the infield about holding Escobar close at second base. It's keeping him aware that he might try and steal third. And I think you'll see Altuve and Correa playing very close to him to try to keep him from stealing third. Because A.J. Hinch called Valbuena the third baseman, which you don't see the manager do very often.
Lorenzo Cain will be intentionally walked. And they will go after the left-handed hitting Eric Hosmer. Cain was Keuchel's final hitter in Game 3. Struck him out to end the outing.
But Cain has had a good numbers, if I remember correctly, off of Keuchel. At least his approach was really good. So this makes all the sense in the world. Bring in the double play.
So runners at first and second with one away. Let's answer the Maytag trivia question. Earlier we asked which team has won the most division series game 5s in Major League history. Also the team that's won the most World Series in Major League history.
Pretty sure you could have thrown out the Yankees or the Red Sox, since they've been probably in the most division series games and gotten it right.
So again, it's Eric Hosmer. 4 for 20 in the series, but as we mentioned earlier, all 4 of his hits have driven in runs. 0-1. You know, at some point in this series, and we talk about how the Royals were kind of that big hit away from opening up a couple of earlier big leads. This is a team that hit .281 with runners in scoring position during the regular season. That was the second best batting average in the American League. Through the first 4 games of this series, they hit .214 with runners in scoring position.
Well, I started out by saying the patience. It's power versus patience in this classic matchup, and the patience of the Royals lineup 1 through 9 has really paid off. They're not hitting the ball extremely well, and you have to give the Astros and their game plan and their pitchers a lot of credit because they've established how they were going to get them out. Unfortunately, the bullpen couldn't continue that in a couple games.
Keuchel in front of Hosmer, 0-2.
I mean, McHugh pitched really good. He did not get the results tonight that are indicative of a guy that's going to possibly end up with the loss. Kazmir had the lead. Of course, Keuchel pitched great, and so did McCullers. So when you think about what the starters were able to do for Houston, they executed their game plan about as good as you can against their lineup.
2 balls and 2 strikes now. Eric Hosmer has had a little bit of success against Dallas Keuchel, despite what you would think to be a tough matchup for him. He's 4 for 9 career against the Houston A's.
Watch Lorenzo Cain right here. He's not even looking at Dallas Keuchel. All his trust is in Rusty Kuntz, the first base coach. All his attention is on Alcides Escobar at second base. And if Chris Carter or Dallas Keuchel wanted to put a back pick on, Rusty, the first base coach, is the one that has to alert Lorenzo Cain. As loud as it is right here, as it is in the stadium, I don't know if he'd be able to hear him. But you can see Cain here as he takes his lead. He's not even looking at Dallas Keuchel. All his attention is at second base. This is what you look for when you're trying to put a back pick on.
Still full.
Tell you what, with Valbuena as far off the bag as he is, I'm surprised the Royals aren't going on this pitch. 3-2 pitch. I mean, he still can get over to the bag in plenty of time, but with the abbreviated kind of shift and trusting your hitter is not going to swing outside the strike zone.
Eric Hosmer is a well-timed swing away from sending this place to the next planet. Instead, he pops it up. Valbuena and Castro, and the catcher makes the play here for out number 2. When the Astros bat in the 9th, they'll have their number 9 hitter, likely a pinch hitter for Jason Castro, and then Altuve and Springer. So 2 gone now. Escobar and Cain still out there. And it'll be Kendrys Morales batting from the right side for the first time tonight. Kendrys Morales during the regular season cashed in with a Royals record and Major League best 53 two-out RBIs. 0-1.
Whatever team goes on to win this game and plays the Toronto Blue Jays, there are going to be a lot of those type of swings. This is 2 lineups, 3 lineups that can punish pitchers. We've seen what the Blue Jays can do throughout the year.
You saw Wade Davis a moment ago. He's hot and ready to go. Ned Yost told us before the game tonight that his plan in an ideal case scenario, 6 out of Cueto. He would have been thrilled with that. Instead, he gets 8 and can forget all about the setup core and go starter closer, driver putter in game 5. folks in the ballpark tonight have spent just as much time on their feet as they have in their seats.
It's an impressive crowd. They all wear blue.
Two balls and two strikes.
Well, you saw Jason Castro try to massage that ball back over the outside corner from Dallas Keuchel right there. He just tried to get the call from Jerry Davis and just subtly bring it back over the plate to try to steal strike three against Kendry Morales.
Two on, two out, 2-2 to Kendry Morales. A 2-run lead for Kansas City. Morales sends a ball well hit into left center field, and that one is gone! Home crowd wants a curtain call. Here's Mike Moustakas now, 7-2 Kansas City.
And there's the danger of bringing in Dallas Keuchel instead of an experienced bullpen guy. I know what A.J. Hinch is thinking, but there's the danger.
As tough as it would have been down by 2, the Astros are painfully aware that Kansas City has never given up a 5-run lead in the 9th this year. That's what Houston will be faced with when they go to the 9th. A deficit of at least 5. 3 balls and no strikes to Mike Moustakas. Kendry Morales' 3rd home run of the series. A full count now, 3-2.
Curveball down and in. What a reaction by Morales. That's what I love to see in the playoffs. The reaction of these guys, how excited they get. Down and in curveball from Dallas Keuchel. Kendry Morales golfed it out to left center to open this game up and give Johnny Cueto a 5-run lead. Running back out there, Ned. Come on. John Smoltz would go back out there.
Too late. He spent all his energy going, phew. I'm out.
To Moustakas is bounced into the shift. That's Correa. That Kendry Morales swing may be the one that pushes the Royals deeper into the fall. To the 9th. Kansas City 3 outs away from a date with the Blue Jays. team 3 outs away from moving on to the 2015 postseason. Ensuring their lead with 3 in the 8th, courtesy of the Kendrys Morales home run. Johnny Cueto, one of the big stories tonight. Wade Davis takes over here in the top of the 9th. It is Preston Tucker leading off as a pinch hitter.
Wade Davis has everything you need to get a quick inning. The 3-run homer maybe take a little bit of the edge off, and sometimes guys get trying to get those 3 outs relatively quick. They're a little more locked in with a 1-run, 2-run lead.
2 balls and a strike. We talk about how good Kansas City is with late leads. Undefeated entering the 9th with a lead of 5 runs or more.
I would hope so.
2-2.
With the arms they have coming out of the pen, I think if you check most team stats, if they have a 5-run lead going to the 9th, there's not a whole lot of teams that have probably blown a lot of leads. But the arms Kansas City has coming out, I don't see them blowing. They don't blow 1-run leads. Forget 5-run leads.
One away in the 9th. Houston scored first, and with a deficit on the board, the Bank of America play of the game came in the bottom of the 5th. Alex Rios with a 2-run double that gave the Royals a lead that they don't intend to give back. By the way, there has been 1 blown lead in the 9th with a lead of 5+ or more this year. Teams that lead by 5 or more in the 9th are 637-1.
Well,
so there you go, Mr. Smarty Pants.
I stand corrected.
Share your favorite postseason memories using hashtag MLB Memory Bank. Jose Altuve beats it on the ground to shortstop, and they can taste it here at Kauffman Stadium.
I know we just showed the play of the game, but the one for me that was unique and I rarely see, and Kansas City never takes anything for granted, an RBI with a runner on first, a single where Gomez's feet went out from under him, and that being down 2-0 put them down 1, and then of course the next inning they scored 3 times.
George Springer represents the last chance. A drive to right. Orlando on his horse back there to make the catch at the wall, and it's with that exclamation point that the Kansas City Royals move on for a date with the Blue Jays. The night is just beginning here in Kansas City after a 7-2 win for the Royals to claim the division series. Fox Sports Live starts right now.